Welcome back to the Obvious Choice podcast. I'm here just with Amber. There's some other guy who's usually with us. I don't even remember
Who
who
knows?
he is, but apparently he's not here today. So we're back, and we're talking about lightning strikes. We're talking about the importance of actually going for much more extreme, much more aggressive periods to get stuff done to improve yourself. Now, this could be your fitness, this could be stuff with your business, this could be stuff with your relationships, your personal life. One of the things that I've noticed is that over time, adults, myself included, kind of stop evolving. Like, check in with yourself as I'm kind of going through this, what we're going to be talking about here in this next, 30, 45 minutes. When was the last time you, really got better at something? Like, when was the last time you learned a new skill or measurably increased your skill level at something? Again, could be physical, could be intellectual. When was the last time that something with your business really got taken to the next level? When I started checking in with myself this way, I was like, damn, that I don't actually know.
Yeah, I was just thinking about that.
And so this is the problem that I kind of want to help you navigate today. Because when I started checking with myself, I was like, oh, it's because I never really focus intensely on whatever I want to improve on for any period of time. There's just so much stuff that I'm doing at once that no one thing gets enough attention to actually move on to that next level. So I know, kind of like when you ask the question that way, when I asked myself that question that way, I was like, oh,
Rude.
shit, you cut me deep, man.
Yeah, that was painful.
It is a little bit, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
But it's not uncommon.
Yeah.
It's not uncommon.
What did I do with all that time? What was I doing?
Well, especially when you have children, you watch how quickly they learn stuff.
Mm-hmm.
We got a piano, like a little keyboard thing, and it was a hand-me-down, like Allison's family had it. Chinese kids, musical, of course, right? Stereotypical. And so we got it at our place, and Allison's actually going to start taking some lessons. Allison's inspirational to me that way. She just always wants to learn new stuff, or she's always doing some aspect of really intensive personal development at any period of time. So she's going to be taking some community center piano lessons, and Calvin's going to be taking some too. Calvin just loves music, and what this keyboard has is it'll play music, and then you can kind of use the keyboard to add beats. And Calvin had the headphones yesterday, and he was DJing on it.
Oh.
And he was really listening.
Yeah.
He was really concentrating. He was listening to the beat, and he was trying to go into it and adding his own little beats into it. And I was watching him. I pulled up a chair and I was sitting with him and just watching him. And I can't instruct him. I don't know any musical. Yeah. So I was just watching him and watching what he was doing and giving him that space to do it, which when I am able to give myself permission to do that with my children, it's quite a wonderful thing. And I don't do that enough. And he got better, in an hour, not even in an hour. He got way better. And so I think part of it also is you watch your kids and you're like, God damn, man, he got so much better at this in an hour. Meanwhile, my head would have been in a million different places. And probably after 3 minutes of hitting this keyboard, I would have lost focus and
I got laundry to do or
thought about something else.
Yeah.
So I call this lightning strikes. I don't know. Maybe there's a better name for it, but you'll see why. Anyway, it starts with a story. Saturday morning, it's 5:45 a.m. The alarm on my $17 Casio F91W watch is beeping. And so the first thing that I think is, where am I? Because this isn't my bed. And then I remember that around 3 a.m., Calvin ran into our room. Why do kids always run in the middle of the night? Does anybody know?
Maximum impact, that's all.
It's so... Why do they always run? And he snuck into our bed. So he snuck into the bed between Allison and I. And after about 20 minutes of kind of like cuddles with him because like, it's kind of sweet, and that's an expiring moment, and but also I need my sleep. So after about 20 minutes of cuddles and him asking me to scratch his back,
No.
I went into his room to sleep, and I let him enjoy the prime spot next to Allison. So I was in Calvin's bed. So I get out of Calvin's bed and I walk downstairs, and my coffee station that I set up the night before is ready to go. I think one of the key things to having a great day is actually setting it up for success the day before. I'm not the only person who does that, but for me, this means setting up my coffee station. I don't know why, but what this means is the beans are pre-ground, the kettle's full, the honey's on the counter next to my favorite mug, which is this heavy stone mug that somebody gave me about a week after Calvin was born. It says "World's Best Dad,"
No.
but I don't say that, Amber. I don't take pride in winning that award because I'd only
You hadn't had to
actually
prove yourself yet.
I'd
There's
only been I'd only been a dad for a week. Like I was objectively average at the job at best, but it's still nice to look at,
yeah.
and the mug still makes me smile. So it's my
There
favorite
you go.
mug. So my plan for this Saturday morning, this was on a Saturday, was to write for 2 hours, bike to the gym, work out for 45 minutes, and then be home as the kids were waking up for breakfast. Afterwards, that day that I wrote this, that day that this is about, Allison and I, our plan was to not act our ages and go to an all-day outdoors dance music festival. Which we did, but it was like a vegan like food music festival. So
That is not a party then.
I had to eat falafel, you
No.
know. Yeah, it was,
I don't even know what
and
that is.
like expensive falafel.
That's
Like,
even worse.
wait, if you're gonna force me to eat vegan food, which I don't mind vegan food, but if you're gonna force me to eat vegan food, like don't charge me like $19 for two falafel balls. And the worst thing about it is the vegan food often, if you actually look at like the ingredients and stuff, maybe not good vegan food, I don't know, but like if you look at the ingredient stuff, it's so much worse for you
Mm-hmm.
than non-vegan food because of all of the different stuff that they have to put in it to try to, make it mass marketable and taste
Yeah.
good and stuff. Anyway, one of the things I've noticed is that hardworking people often feel stuck because they don't have a definition of what being unstuck is. And so they don't feel joy because they don't know what they're trying to achieve at any given time. And so they work hard on a lot, not excited by much. I'm in a season of intense effort on this next book. And so if I'm to get it done, it has to be a priority. And that means waking up early on a Saturday morning to write. Because it's a premeditated and defined season, though, and because it's my choice to do it, I'm excited to drag my body out of bed early on a Saturday morning. Whatever it is that you want to excel at, whether it's your career, your family, your fitness level, or personal passion, your social life, anything, you have to define it and prioritize it by putting it at the top of your to-do list. I don't think we do that enough,
Mm-hmm.
myself included. But one of the beautiful things about writing books about this stuff is that, and this is the biggest secret that most authors will never admit to, we write books because it makes us better. We write books as reminders of things, of ways that we want to live our life, and because it gives us an excuse to actually research. Be like, oh, when I did that thing that way, it seemed to work really well.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if other people have had that insight. Oh, they have. Oh, other people have written about this. Oh, other people have built frameworks around this. And all of a sudden, yes, the book that I'm writing gets better for others, but more than anything else, I get better.
Yep.
And so visually, I think about it like this. Whenever you're in a season of obsession on one thing, that arm's thickening while the other arms are being maintained. And because each season has a priority and focus, it stays fun, it stays fresh, it stays exciting. We've been told that slow and incremental progress in the pursuit of some faceless, better future is the ideal. We've been told that we can have it all if we just be more consistent, build better habits, and work a bit harder day after day for a very long time. Alain de Botton, the philosopher, wrote, "There's no such thing as work-life balance. Everything worth fighting for unbalances your life." Consistency is undeniably important, but it must be flanked on both sides with periods of obsession, stacked atop one another, focused on one aspect of your life you want to measurably improve. I guess what I'm saying is that I don't accept the power nor the impact of marginal, small daily improvements. I think it's too nice. I think it's too pretty. Therefore, it's too unnatural. Like I was saying earlier, right? Most adults stop evolving once they reach adulthood. They never learn anything new. They never meaningfully improve their fitness or build deep and fulfilling relationships. Mathematically, the idea of slow gains brought on by stacking habits over time is exponentially positive. That checks out. The curve is up to the right and it accelerates over time. But life isn't math. Our brains aren't calculators, at least not mine. Intellectually knowing that something is true is very different than living its experience every single day.
Um,
I'm not able, I wish I was, I'm not able to push a little bit harder every day. I don't even know what that means. On what am I supposed to be improving slowly on? Everything? One thing at a time? And then what? I'm supposed to have blind faith that what I'm doing is going to pay off at some point in the future, whenever the imaginary curve that governs my life decides to hit an inflection point? Yo, Amber, that's a lot of blind faith. There's too many unknowns.
I think I can.
I think I can. I think I can. I mean, but like, take this back to our students, right?
Hmm.
Take this back with the Online Trainer Academy. It's like, I understand intellectually and mathematically that having 5 conversations every single day is going to add up to something great. I understand that the work I'm doing um, towards content, that the work that I'm doing, having real conversations, is going to add up. But like, how often did we see people stick to that?
Oh yeah, no.
And so I had to, the original iterations of the course did not work that well,
Mm.
even though they probably were better objectively, logically systems for long term success.
Hmm.
But in order for that to have happened, there would have had to be so much short term blind faith that it was never adhered to. And so nobody ever got to that point, to that inflection point. And so I had to build in basically short term solutions, right? And so, this idea of like there's a lot of blind faith, there's too many unknowns. And even if we are going to make this a mathematical argument, I say often that I don't do a lot of public math, but I understand math reasonably well. Math was always a subject I didn't like, but I was good at.
Hmm.
I know one thing for certain. The only way to solve any complex mathematical problem is to begin with the known integer. And so I like the idea of falling in love with boredom. I really, really do. So much so that I've actually retweeted that shit in the past. But then I tried it. I really tried. And I couldn't do it. You want to know why, Amber?
We like dopamine. No,
Because
why?
boredom just kind of sucks.
It does. Yes, it does. We're not built for that.
For better or for worse, my human brain craves novelty and excitement and immediate gratification. So maybe I'm not strong willed enough to overcome thousands of years of evolutionary physiology. Maybe my mind is naturally weaker than others. If so, it is what it is. Regardless, it's up to me to work with the physiology that I've got.
Yep.
I was a personal trainer for 8 years. I've worked in the fitness industry for 19 and counting. I've seen a lot of people transform their bodies and way more not transform their bodies. Most people fail with fitness. Walk into any gym, look around. You'll see people working hard, unhappy with their physiques, frustrated that their money and efforts aren't paying off the way that they desire. The industry that I come from fails most people it tries to serve. And it's not for a lack of knowledge or coaches with good intentions. It's because consistency without intermittent bouts of intensity simply doesn't work. We've been sold a lie that physical transformation can be comfortable, that it can be fit in around the edges. It can't. Change is hard. If it matters to you, make it matter. If something like transforming your body is important enough to do, at one point, it's got to be the focus of what you do. Stop squeezing it in like grains of sand around the other big rocks of your life. Now, in order to start, you've got to start. That's undeniable. Something is better than nothing. If you're inactive, figuring out a way to move a bit more is always going to be a positive. You'll be healthier. Wonderful. Super important. But if you ask people in the gym why they've shown up that day, many will tell you that their motivation goes beyond improving basic health indicators. They're there because they want to look different. And sadly, that won't ever happen unless it's the focus. Building a strong body requires intense effort. Maintaining a strong body requires consistency. Transformational change doesn't come about as a result of slow and marginal gains over time. It happens quickly as a result of intensity, of obsession, and then it's maintained. Because if you put up with dedicated work to build strength and resilience over time, you'll be able to put up with more over time. Sorry, I'm going to say that again. If you put in the dedicated work to build strength and resilience one time, you'll be able to put up with more over time. That makes more sense, doesn't it?
Yes.
A transformational period of focus needn't take long to alter a lifetime. I'm going to say that again. A transformational period of focus needn't take long to alter a lifetime. Ask any super fit person how they got into great shape, and they'll tell you about periods of obsession. A race to prepare for, or a photo shoot, or a wedding, perhaps. Then ask the same person if it's relatively easy for them to stay in very good shape. And they'll say yes. That's because it's embedded the lifestyle, the habits, and newfound self-identity to find comfort and stability around a physiological set point. Everything works this way. Change happens as a result of intensity and is then maintained by consistency. Maybe some people are able to do hard things like write books by fitting it in around their other priorities. And again, the math checks out. 500 words a day, in theory, only takes 30 minutes. At that rate, a 55,000 word book could be finished in 110 days or 3.5 months. I even mentioned this in my previous book. I even mentioned this in The Obvious Choice. But there's more to the story. Because if I had to write a small amount every day, I pay startup costs for rebooting that book back into my RAM. By the time I finished trying to figure out what I was trying to say, rereading the previous section, opening up my research and notes, my coffee would be cold, I'd have to pee, and 20 minutes of my 30-minute writing session would be squandered.
Yep.
I always have to pee.
Yeah, you always do. I swear, there's something about guys, like, y'all have small bladders. Like, every guy I know is constantly peeing. Or marking territory. I don't know which one you all are doing, but it's constant.
Sure. I don't know what to say that.
I know, I'm just complaining.
I got nothing to say that. Yes. Yes. Whenever I had the middle seat on a recent plane ride, and it was like a 4-hour plane ride, and I had the middle seat, and I had to get up and pee 3 times.
Oh my
And the other 2 people on either side of me didn't get up once.
Yeah, exactly.
I just kept tapping the guy in the shoulder. I was like, again.
See, I'm too socially awkward. I just hold it. Like, nope, not asking anything of anyone.
Allison's mom and I always joke that any time that we leave anywhere, both of us have to go pee. It's just a joke. It's like me and the grandmas.
Yep.
So getting something like getting something done is better than nothing. I don't want to have this kind of monologue misconstrued.
Yeah.
Getting something done is better than getting nothing done. And if that's your only option, then I guess you got to figure that out. And I hope you do, but I doubt that you will. Which is why even successful people find themselves stuck, never finishing books that they're writing, never transforming their bodies, never learning new skills, and never measurably improving relationships.
I
I
think
do try. Go on.
those fulfill different goals, right? Like that little bit, its goal is to create inertia, right? Like it's to get you going, to get out of a place where you're stuck. That's the
Yeah.
goal of that. But if you're wanting transformation, then that's what you're talking about. Those have two entirely different goals. Like for a lot of us transitioning from non-movement to movement,
Hmm.
then it's the whole, shoes first principle, right? Then it's just I just need to get my shoes on. I need to take any step in that direction and that's a win for the day. So creating that inertia, but then what you're wanting, if you want actual transformational change, then that's full dedicate or not full dedication, but making it a priority. So two totally different end goals with those kind of
Totally.
approaches, I think.
Well, I guess reasons why you would do it. Reasons why you would potentially start from nothing.
Hmm.
Um, I wonder though. Tell me what you think about this. Let me put a marking where I am here to know where I'm going to restart, because this brings up something that I think about that I don't think you and I have ever spoken about. You and I have both been in the fitness industry for a very, very long time.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of nice things that people who work in the fitness industry like to say.
Mm-hmm.
And I wonder how much people that aren't in the fitness industry care about them.
Oh, yeah.
Like this idea of building inertia or building momentum. Like, is that the type of thing that us trainers know is very important? The people who study the psychology of this type of thing know is very important. But, like, is that something that folks who are not yet active or actively engaged in our industry, is that something they care about? What do you
No,
think?
no, not at all. I mean, the only people that are going to care about that are when they're actually actively trying to problem solve why they can't do something. That's when they're going to start looking for things or answers to fix something. But people who
Hmm.
are just kind of passively wishing, I wish I was, 10 pounds lighter, or I wish I had that, or, no, they don't. They're just not in that headspace yet. You might catch their attention with a quick win or a silly tip or trick, but
Right.
the things that we get excited about because we're nerds, they're not going to care. There's just no way. They're not in that mental headspace yet.
Yeah, I always wonder how much of this is. I mean, you're American. You could tell me whether I'm using this political term properly. I always wonder whether it's just like fitness professionals filibustering to one another.
Mm. Don't know that that would be
I don't really know what that word means. I shouldn't have
correct.
used it.
No, filibustering would be like, we want to make this change and we don't want to participate in that process. So we're just saying no. So we can't bring it to be voted on.
Oh, okay.
Um,
No, then that's not it. Um,
Onward.
it's not the right word. No, I mean, like the type of thing. It's the type of idea. This idea of like, oh, you have to start slow. You've got to build the
Mm.
momentum.
It
Um,
feels nice. It makes us feel good, if we can come up with an easy answer. Like there's a difference between an easy answer and a simple answer, right? And so we prefer the easy answer when the correct answer more often than not is simple, but it's not easy. And so I think that's a big part of the disconnect is we know the simple answer, but nobody wants the simple answer. They want the easy answer.
right.
So it makes it hard for us to walk the line of being helpful, but also getting our foot in the door to help people. So it's a hard line to walk.
It is, isn't it? Yeah, it is. Hmm. Okay. Let me move on here.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks for indulging me.
Yeah, always.
And I guess this actually kind of has something to do with what we were just talking about. Because I do try to write every day.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think that the habit is indeed important to maintain. I think that daily reps really do matter. And if I didn't write something almost daily, my books probably wouldn't get done. But my books also don't get done because I write every day. These daily efforts that you do when you're already like actively engaged in something, which I call the in between things. The way I think about it is they provide the kindling for the main thing, but spending all of your time on the in between things and never focusing on the main thing results in a lot of sticks and no fire. And so that's what I think people call burnout.
Mhm.
I've never really liked the term burnout though, because at least in this case, there was never a flame in the first place to burn out. It just feels like you're at your wits' end. I just don't think that you can be passive with anything that matters. Like if you're trying to meaningfully improve your fitness, the goal of training is to reset your body's normal to a higher level of functioning through a relatively short, call it 8 to 12 weeks, dedicated weight training nutrition program. If you want to improve a key relationship, let your life be interrupted and go out of your way for that person. If you want to tackle a big project, commit your best working hours of the week to it. Give yourself full days uninterrupted to focus on it. There are trade offs to all of these things. They're hard to do. But with each season, any of these are seasons, with each season, your old ceilings become your new floors, continually searching back to each element at a higher level, sketching anew, a lightning strike permanently impacting the landscape versus a series of unimpactful sparks. It's unhinged, it's almost deranged, I think, at times, this type of maniacal focus. And so it's not possible to be in season all of the time. You might sometimes have everything on cruise control, which is also fine. All that I'm saying is that if you want something, go after it aggressively, or be okay not having it for the time being. Long-term consistency and stacking habits is a great way to make sure you do stuff like floss your teeth more often. But without intensity, visits to the dentist, you'll never earn a pearly white smile. Because I don't think you can have one without the other. Okay, this challenges a lot of the convention, Amber.
I think you're adding the necessary nuance. Like a lot of the nice phrases that we like or that sound great in theory, and they're not incorrect, but they lack nuance. And so you're tackling the nuance that people are missing and are so frustrated with like conventional advice because it's missing that nuance. So I
Hmm.
think for people when they go to read this, they're going to be a little bit like, well, duh, but also like kind of pissed off because like all of this great advice, yes, but these are the things that were missing for me to be able to like actually make progress on a goal or make changes or whatever it may be. So I'll be curious to see how people react for sure.
What do you think about, like, because you know that I struggled a lot with this.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think it's quite there yet. I don't think it's anywhere close to being there yet. I'm expecting my editor to tear it apart. But it started it started with me really shitting on like the 1% better
Mm-hmm.
type mantra. And then I thought about it more and I was like, well, I mean, that stuff is important. Like, you can't just like eliminate it. But clearly, that isn't all that it is.
Yeah.
And also, like, yeah, boredom sucks. Like, boredom doesn't work. Like, you can tweet that shit as much as you want. If you watch humans and pay attention to yourself,
Mm-hmm.
boredom actually sucks. I don't want to be bored. So, as you know, I can feel guilty about that, or I can accept that that's the way it is. And what do I do from here? But I feel like, and this is where I'm curious how it came off to you. I feel like I found kind of a more reasonable
Balance.
balance
Yeah.
here.
Yeah. I'd agree with
Um,
that for sure. Because again, it's always going to, there's no way to give great advice to everyone. And that's the problem with simple phrases like that. It's not going to
yeah.
suit everyone in every situation. And that's why that's so tough. Um, but for the right person in the right situation, it could be true. It just depends on what's happening. Um, so I think it's good to keep it in its appropriate place, but it's not wrong altogether.
It's not wrong altogether. Yeah. It's not just like, no, this doesn't matter. Like, I don't know, maybe some people can, you know, withstand to those small habits without seeing the impact of them for a very long time,
Mm-hmm.
um, and commit to the process and fall in love with the process and everything like that. Uh, I think falling in love with the process is almost a retroactive benefit of
Mm-hmm.
seeing results from the process.
Yep. I mean, like
As
nobody eats super healthy and goes to the gym just for shits and giggles. I don't enjoy doing squats just to do squats.
but
But it's fun to think about what it lets me do when I'm doing them, and therefore it makes it more fun. So it's like,
I just feel better. I mean, I just feel better, like
yeah,
in every sense of the word. Days I don't work out, I mean, for the next couple months, I probably, for reasons that but aren't public, like I probably won't be working out as much. I might be going 3 days a week instead of five.
yeah,
And part of my concern with that is how I'm going to feel with the weather getting worse at the same time
yes,
as not working
hmm,
out as much. Um, it's actually like the only part that I'm concerned about.
yeah,
I know that I'll be able to maintain my physique with
yeah.
2 or 3 workouts a week.
But
I'm
it's
not
the
concerned
mental
about that.
benefits, yeah, for
Having
sure.
a second huge serving of apple pie and ice cream last night probably wouldn't help, but I
At least
worked
then
out today, so I
it's
needed
better
the
than cherry
calories.
pie.
It's way better than cherry pie. Fuck cherry pie. You're right.
I know.
Okay,
I don't think I've
let's
ever actually had pie. How about that? Never
cherry
mind. Go
pie.
ahead. Yeah, I've never had
You
cherry
just
pie.
you know what it is. It's like if you have to add that much sugar to something to make it not taste terrible, like maybe you should just have a variation of that thing that you don't need to add as much sugar to that already tastes good. It's
Yeah.
just like, why are you trying so hard, Cherry, to like
Mhm.
not suck? Um, Somebody's gonna bring me a cherry pie, or I'm just gonna start like I saw pineapple pizza show up at my door one day. I'm just gonna start seeing cherry pies show up at my door.
Probably. I don't have a strong affiliation with that, so that's okay.
I know. So this line came from Len in earlier episodes. So
Mm,
the title for this section is Coffee Grounds and Expensive Fragrances.
nice. I like it.
Whenever I was being a good dad, son, husband, or friend, I get this unshakable feeling of guilt in not showing up in my business as much as I'd like to. And then there were other times, if I was committing myself to my business, I'd feel guilt not giving that same attention to my family. And in both cases, my fitness would suffer. Then I'd put effort into my fitness and feel guilty for not putting that same effort into work and family. Brains. Man. Freaking brains. Am I
Yep.
right? Freaking brains.
Yep. Never happy.
Most often, what we desire in life devolves into obligations. I have to succeed at work, or else I'll fail myself or my family. I have to exercise, or else I won't be attractive. I have to make time for my family, or else I'm not a good person. Focus is a superpower. We all know this intuitively, but weirdly, that focus comes with guilt. You'll always have more information on the area you're focusing on than the ones that you're not. This comparative ignorance, this asymmetry of knowledge for the other thing you're not doing, creates the illusion that the grass is greener. Now, it wasn't always this way, of course. Technology used to progress reasonably slowly. Society existed in small communities. Outside news only occasionally got delivered by like wandering merchants, later by 3 to 5 radio or TV programs. When innovation happened, adaptation was possible. Laws and controls and social norms were able to evolve more or less in pace with the new technology. That's not the case anymore. Astro Teller, in something that he wrote called Thank You for Being Late, wrote, the rate of technological change is now accelerating so fast that it has risen above the average rate at which most people can absorb these changes. By the time we get used to a change, it's old news. We can't learn quick enough or adapt fast enough. We simply can't keep up. It's an impossible to win race, one not even worth taking part in. I don't know where you are right now. I don't know anything about you. We're in a different place. We're in a different time. You're weeks ahead of me right now, months ahead. Despite all of this, I know that there's a lot you feel like you're missing out on right now. And I also know that you're anxious about it. Regressing to a state of blindness by pathologically narrowing your exposure obviously isn't the answer, bro. nor is it possible. Feeling like you're missing out is unavoidable, and though it doesn't necessarily feel like it, it's a good thing. There is consolation, that's the word. There is consolation. Never make fun of somebody who doesn't know how to pronounce words, because it means they read a lot of books, people. There is, there is consolation in the fact that missing out is an inexorable, I don't know how to pronounce that word.
Me neither.
Inexorable? Do
I'd
you
have
know
to
it?
see it. I'd have to see it.
Inexorable.
Nope. Couldn't tell you.
Uh, there is
We'll Google it.
consolation in the fact that missing out is an inexorable, somebody send me a message
That's
with
how
how to
we're
pronounce
saying
it,
it now. That's what it
side
is.
effect of the richness of human life, wrote Kiran Satya in Midlife. He also said, it reflects something wonderful, that there is so much to love and that it is so various that one history could not encompass it all. Okay, that's cool. I like philosophy. It helps me make sense of the problem when I've drank enough coffee to read dense enough books that make sense of the problem. Religion also provides some comfort around this, of course. Pastor Rick Warren in The Purpose Driven Life wrote that growth is often painful and scary. There's no growth without change. There's no change without fear or loss. And there is no loss without pain. Every change involves a loss of some kind. You must let go of old ways in order to experience the new. We fear these losses, even if our old ways were self defeating, because, like a worn out pair of shoes, they were at least comfortable and familiar. Okay, I hear all of this. I buy into the philosophy. But also, but also, we sometimes feel shitty day to day, don't we?
Mm-hmm.
And so I read all of this and I was like, is there anything that you can actually do other than read dense philosophical books or rely on pastors who provide hope? Is there anything that we can actually do? And the answer is dynamic stability. It's contrast. It's starting and stopping. It's seasons. No matter how great something is, or tastes, or smells, or feels, we need palate cleansers, coffee grounds, and expensive fragrances. It's not perfect. Fear of missing out, FOMO, it's unavoidable. The grass will always be greener. But so long as you actively seek contrast, the difference of the two things, you'll be more excited for what you're actually doing and less fearful of what you're not, because you know that that time will also come. I'm going to stop it at that today.
I think the challenge is going to be being aware of when you're doing it. Like I think a lot of the trouble is like actively knowing what you're doing.
Yeah.
That's the skill I've had to work really hard on, just to be able to acknowledge, okay, here's what I'm seeing I'm doing or why I'm doing those things,
Right.
and looking for those patterns. So, yeah.
Right. Yeah, just really identifying, like,
Yeah.
right now, I am working on this.
Yeah. Or, I'm having this odd behavior, that's not matching with my goals because of, whatever. And being
Right.
able to acknowledge that and point it out. Uh, makes it interesting.
I agree. Yeah, I agree. I'm not sure how to lay that out. Like, here's a journal for you to mark with, like, some dot matrix system of what season you're going to be in at whatever time. It's like,
Yeah, no.
that's some bullshit self-help.
I don't need another journal. I just buy them. I mess up the first page and now I don't want to use the journal. So, no.
See, that's why you need to buy crappy notebooks.
It doesn't
That's
matter.
actually one of the biggest hacks that I have for people is, instead of buying like nice journals, you buy
Mm-hmm.
these just like, the old school. Oh, I wish I had one of them
Oh,
here.
I have like
Oh
just
yeah,
like the normal roll, like 99-cent ones.
yeah. That's what you
Yep,
do. Here, one
I
of these.
know.
That's what they're called. Hilroy.
Yep, exactly. Nope, I do that too. But then my like handwriting starts to look shitty, and like now I don't like it anymore, and so my brain gives up.
I just never, if I have like
Type
really nice
now.
paper, really nice journal or something, I feel like I have to be too perfect in it,
Yeah.
and I can't just jot and make sense of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And so my hack is, yeah, going to the dollar store and getting
That's
like
so
shitty
funny.
notebooks that I can just, you know,
Don't
muck
fill.
away with.
Fair enough.
Oh, I had one. What was the one that I wanted to?
Oh.
Let's recommend this episode. Um, Amber, let's recommend this episode. It's on a different topic, but it was a really good episode.
Hmm.
This was an interview that I did with Chris Cooper from To Bring
Hmm.
Fitness, and it's
Yep.
about investing in local relationships. We talk a lot about the power of building local relationships, community. It's actually the single best way to build your business. Like, even if you work online, the majority of your customers are going to come from anywhere from a 3 to 5 mile radius around you.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, these are the people who know you or have reason to trust you. Like, maybe one day if you become like a massive thought leader or whatever, but like, it's still going to be easier to sell to people close to you. So stop making it so goddamn hard on yourself and start investing more into local relationships, even if you're online. And so this episode with Chris Cooper really dives into a lot of the stuff that they do with their people, and him and I just are on the same wavelength with a lot of this stuff. So this is episode number 238. Chris Cooper, investing in local relationships. Have a listen. I think you'll really like that. I don't think we've actually
We
recommended
haven't.
this
We
one
haven't yet. Mm-mm.
before, but it was a really good interview. Yeah, episode 238. Enjoy. Thanks for hanging out.
Bye.
Talk again. Bye bye.